was thinking about Terence McKenna describing some sort of tsunami mushroom trip that he had. And remembering a tsunami, I didn't know it was a trip until now. I didn't think it was something to do with that happened between my ears. I suppose I just didn't make my mind up about it. But I was living in this haunted house. If you define a haunted house as a house that's got a lot of stories about people who've had strange experiences in it. It's Sadiri, which is a few kilometers from Tumupasa, at the entrance to the Madibi National Park. It's a bird watching lodge, and I spent a couple of months there. Smoking cigarettes and chewing coca and sweeping leaves. And I used to stay up late. I used to just sit on the balcony alone thinking mainly about computers and electronics and stuff. I didn't have my computer at the time. And lots of strange, cute things happened when I was there. I used to hear what sounded like noises of a family behind the house doing ordinary family things, clinking pots and cleaning and cooking. And I used to hear a sound like a motorbike that came up the road and went down the road again and on. And I used to hear what I thought were sounds of mosques and people being called to prayer and children playing in the forest. Oh, I heard all sorts of strange sounds up there. But the really impressive one was this tsunami. It was just a crescendo, rising whooshing that started out sounding like wind, but then it just went, and it built and it built and it built, and I thought, whoa, what is this? What's coming this way? And eventually, when it sounded like it had arrived, I ran to the back of the port. I jumped up from where I was sitting and ran to the back. I thought, well, and then it passed, and that was it. And I thought, oh, I'll call that a night, and I went to sleep. But that was really that's what Terence McKenna said sounded like that. But there was no sense that I had at all that experience was going on between my ears. That experience was going on in that place. I wondered if it was the way the wind moves through the trees, the way sound carries. It's interesting to think about the way sounds carry and how they can be focused by the atmosphere. And so I was thinking about this physics on a closed surface and plant bioacoustics, and I don't see why these things won't happen. That there's a sonic memory of all sorts of events. One of the things I was thinking of at the time was lake, the water from the lake Titicaca, which is at this huge high altitude, and I wrote some piece of drivel about how you could run up, you could basically have a 2 kilometer, 3 kilometer head of water pressure from a lake, and calculating the amount of energy in that, and it's incredible. I heard that there was some Chinese company that was actually doing something up there, and they were actually messing with some community's water supply while they did it. So I suppose that's my fault. I thought Bolivia had a government at the time. I didn't know it was me. Fucking madhouse. Anyway, I thought about San Miguel del Bala and this story, and I made up another story about some kook who figured out thousands of years ago that you could give your enemies a fright by sending a massive soliton down a river, and had actually done that somehow with some of Johanna James' ancient technology. It's fun thinking about these things, but you can't, when you're in a madhouse and you have people with money, Chinese billionaires coming in and investing in it and actually doing shit like that, then you it's the thing about this, have you got a safe space where you can discuss these things, or have you, and you haven't in this world. People are just doing ridiculous things. They're doing ridiculous things and not doing the basic things. They're not burying the dead. They're not clothing the naked, and they're not feeding the hungry. You've got to build basic civilization into the things that you do. You can't base your grand schemes on some delusion, which is what money is. So thermodynamics is much more interesting when you design systems that are open, and you connect open systems together. So water treatment, the process of treating water tends to be a kind of filtration, some sort of filtration through earth, through ponds, through plants, with some transpiration cycles and things in it. So you can treat water from human communities by filtering it down, and then you need to lift it back up again. And you don't need the kinetic or potential energy of that water. To use it as water, but you could build in pumped storage facilities as energy stores. So when I take a shower, the water pressure here is huge. It's been pumped out from way down under the ground. It's being pumped up into some tower somewhere on a hill. It's over there, I think. That's up there. And it's coming out at huge pressure into the bucket. And I don't need the water to be spinning around the bucket like a dervish in order to take a shower. I just need water to come out into the bucket, but it comes out at a terrific velocity, and the pipes leak, and when that pipe breaks up there, you get a jet of water flying up into the air. So maybe you do need that pressure when you're delivering to, but I'm sure you could design systems that use that energy without diffusing it into rapidly moving water which erodes holes under the road and things like this. And this company Rheem, that have a plant here in Mexicali, and they make these heat pump or water heaters that pump heat out of the air into the water. But you need systems that you can couple with solar. You need really flexible systems that couple with passive solar water heaters and things like that. Why anybody here needs to use electricity to heat water at all, I don't know. I mean, even during winter, there are very few days where you wouldn't get a really good um, water temperature with a well-designed passive solar heater. And those things can be made to last years and years and years. And they can also cool the roofs. So why, when you're putting a roof on a house, why isn't the whole roof a passive water heater? Because that's what you want from a roof. You want it to take the heat out of you don't want it re-radiating heat down into the house during the day and radiating it out at night. So you've got to have a way to integrate designs of systems in. You've got to have kind of pluggable designs so that you can plug them together, plug open thermodynamic systems together and rearrange them without having to rebuild the units that you're using. And you need to free exchange of the ideas about how to do this. You don't want people locking stuff down with patents, and you need things like interconnects and making decisions about pipes and pressure systems and that information that you don't need that to be in the heads of all the engineers. It can be in databases and things, and you exchange the databases. And I thought the economy, you could arrange it by cooperative, multi-level cooperatives. So cooperatives and cooperatives of cooperatives and cooperatives of cooperatives of cooperatives, and you can handle accounting and credit and the money supply in that kind of framework. So you're kind of plugging economic accounting practices, accounting systems together, and doing that, you can probably use a whole lot of ideas from thermal physics to handle the economy as well. This is probably turned off the video now. No, it's still going. Sometimes it just turns off. You need some way to handle assets, and what's the point of owning land and not having any capital to be able to do anything at all with that land? And in order to keep the asset, which is the land, you've got to stop people from using it, because if squatters move in or something, you're not going to be able to get them out. It's going to reduce the value of the land. So in a city like this, there's very little you can actually do. You can't start any projects without having huge amounts of money and capital to buy everything you need, and then whatever you do, you have to plan in advance and carry on doing it until you've recouped your investment or whatever. You can't adapt to design like that. You can't change the use when it's more when the area changes and there are more different things that you want to do, because you've locked the money into some corporate structure and some series of contracts that have been signed for 10, 15, 20 years. And like these railway maintenance contracts and things. And if you've got to go, every time you want to change something like that, you've got to go through lawyers and courts and things. Well, then you're stuffed as well. Unless you're a lawyer, I suppose. We've got all these societies, people locked into doing pointless, stupid things because they need to do them in order to just maintain basic standards of living. Well, not even that. They need to do them in order to maintain substandard. It's all upside down and fucked up. And it's because people can't talk, people can't exchange ideas. And because some fucking bunch of twats figured out that the world's going to end or something, in however many different ways it can end, which is surely is equal to the number of different ways it can begin. Adaptation and education and communication. It's got to start with education. That's got to be your goal. Not to make money out of education. Just to allow it to happen, stop preventing it.